Morning,
Hello,
everyone.
everyone.
Morning,
Hello,
everyone.
hello. Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Awaking Happiness video
Not just any
podcast.
old, not just any old waking happiness day today, though, is it?
Well, today is my birthday. So, and it's not, and it's something to do with the title of this post, this video. It's my 50th. So, I actually realized I was going to be 50 about 2 or 3 days ago. So, oh yeah, I'm going to be 50. Interesting. And this morning my kids were saying, "Happy birthday, mom! You're 50 now." And I said, yeah, interesting. It's a nice age where there are lots of people who haven't had the opportunity to reach that age. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I've reached 50, and I can't complain about my health or the life that I've chosen at the moment to not go to work and do my own things. So it's great. In many ways, it's a very good place to be. So I'm grateful. It's a privilege denied to many to reach this age. So let's see what we're going to come up with this on this topic today. So as we were preparing about broadcasting today, we had a few topics in mind. And one of them was to do to when people reach a certain age, um, like a bigger number, it's usually a time to reflect and to think whether they're living the life that they really want, whether they're choosing to have the circumstances, the environment, the reality that is really their dream one, or are they going along with someone else's setup?
Yeah, here's an interesting thing because a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not really bothered about 50 because basically I'll enjoy myself when I get there, when I make it, when I get there." Was like, make what? Well, when I've got enough money where I can go around the world and enjoy myself and do all those things that I want to do. So they're kind of hanging on
To a
to an
dream.
idea
Mm.
that the this is like working right now. This is what I do. Is I work now, and then there'll come a time when I don't have to work and I can like let the reins go and very often die, to be honest, because there's stories of people who've retired, changed their life entirely, and then suddenly they're such a shock to the body that they don't have very long at that age. So it's an interesting question because what you're talking about here is, and like some people will get to 50 and they'll say, like my life is shit. They'll do that. We did a video on this. Like my life is
Mm.
rubbish and I don't like it. And then other people will say won't have that revelation, and they won't even be self investigating, and they'll just say my life is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, they
It's like,
become victim of their circumstances,
well, no, they don't even know that.
and they know, yeah.
They don't even. It's not an option. And like I said to you a minute ago, you can only open the doors you can see. If you can't see the doors, then you can't open them. And it's a very and how many people are wandering? I mean, like wandering around. With the doors they open are the ones they already know about, and there's no
And and so why can't we see all available doors? Because our vision is not very wide, maybe, so we can only see a very narrow spectrum of what's available in front of us.
I mean, what is possible? So you ask yourself, what's possible? It's only the things you know, isn't it? Or the things you've just learned.
Yeah.
That's all that's possible. You go to someone and listen to what they're saying. You think, oh, there's more possibilities than I imagined here. But unless you're exploring and imagining things and using your mind to, it's like envision, like think outside the box or blue sky thinking. All these things are just labels, but they're essentially talking about the same thing. Blue sky thinking, what's that? It's about well, where can we take this? And it's like inviting us to consider things, open our eyes, um, and like think outside the box. What does that mean? Well, it means don't just think of things that you know about. Well, look beyond that.
Step outside.
And yeah, and I
Yeah.
think 50 years of age is an interesting age because, like, 50 years of age, like, today with okay, forget the junk food and all that stuff, but we have the capability, and you can look back in history at this. The age expectancy is going up. Okay, it's
Mm-hmm.
not for everyone, but it is. That's a fact. But it is generally going up. So there is an average which
Yeah.
is going up. So at 50 years of age, generally people are in reasonable health. They've still got plenty of energy. Um, they've got their vitality maybe, unless they've been depressed or like that kind of thing. Which there's a lot of people out there that are in that condition. And it can be depression. I saw something the other day. It's like depression is like seeing the world as grey and everyone else telling you how colourful it is.
Yeah.
And all you can see is grey. And you say, stop telling me it's colourful. Like, it isn't. It's grey. And there isn't any colour. And so, but when people get to 50, there's lots left in the tank. Do you know what I mean? Lots. So what do you want to do? Because you've already had loads of history. You know what's worked, what hasn't worked. You know
You've learned a
what you
lot. You've had a lot of experience. You've accumulated your wisdom, and well, if it's not wisdom, you've got life experience of, like you say, what works, what doesn't work, how does this world function?
This is why having a relationship later in life where you meet someone is so challenging and so rewarding because people bring lots to the party, good, bad, indifferent, right? And and
And
it's like
history.
how can
Yeah.
you be flexible when you've embedded stuff in that's this is kind of who I am. No, this is how you've decided to behave. and and of course it's like people say, I've seen it on Facebook. Yeah, here's my checklist. Like if you don't have all these, right, forget it. Well, how about if they've got one that's not on your checklist? That's amazing. Does that mean you're not even prepared to open your eyes to the possibility that it's a funny thing, isn't it? Getting older, it's a
Well,
funny
this is how people have been taught to manifest. They need to have a very clear idea of what they want to attract in their life, so they have a list. I want the person I want to attract to be this and this and this and this and this and this and this,
yeah.
because it's an exercise in manifestation. But
But
maybe
what are you
there is a
saying
better
there?
way.
But what are you saying there? You're saying I want these things, not I can give these things.
Yeah,
Right? So it's about taking, isn't it?
it's about taking. Is about thinking that you are entitled.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's like,
that's how it is. You are entitled, but it's not that you're entitled. It's I don't know why we're going into relationships. We're talking
well, no,
about
but the
people.
reason, but no, but the reason is because of point of reflection. There's a lot of things to reflect on, isn't there? There's a
Yeah.
load of things to reflect. I want this. I want someone to love me really, really deeply, but I'm a shitty narcissist.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna love them back.
That's
I'm
what
gonna make sure they love me, and I just do my own thing.
exactly. So, like all things are like you have to reflect, don't you? Like you have to say, like, am I what? like I saw something the other day. So someone rang up a cat sanctuary and said, like I want like a pedigree, someone who's a cat that's had a decent home and is full and fit and healthy and everything else, and like has got a record and had all their injections and everything else. And the person who was in the so the person in the category said, "Well, who the hell are you then?" Like, how can you demand that you want this when our expectations are that you live in a mansion, the cat's got loads of places to run around, and and there's some other cats close by that they can probably make friends with. So we'll have a little trial. Like like if you're gonna make if you're gonna make like like statements about what you want, then doesn't the cat have the same
It's
opportunity?
reciprocity. It's one of the rules of life is reciprocity.
Anyway, so that's about relationships. I was just saying that, even that is up for question, isn't it? When you're 50, like, and a lot of people are entering their 50th with those questions. Like, shall I stay here? Am I actually meeting my life ambitions being here, or am I just compromising so much that,
Yeah,
you
that
know,
word compromising is a key one to think about.
mm,
Because why do you need to be compromising? Who's gonna give you a medal? Oh, well done, you! You compromised. There's a badge for you. Gold medal. Fantastic. You compromised your life so I can live a better life. Yes, we do say this about the soldiers who died in the war.
yeah, I mean, like I'm not a fan of war. So for me,
Yeah.
it's like we shouldn't have even been there. Like I granted there are people that decided to go and fight for their king and country or whatever, and we owe them. We no, we don't owe them a debt. What happens is they decide they were forced into doing that. That was the time of the world, and those people went and they did that. And what would have happened if they didn't? I don't know what would have happened if they didn't. I can't. How can we any of us know? That was a decision that was taken at a time that was there, and like like today you can't force people to go into the war. You can in a messy war like Ukraine, but you can't like to operate these machines. You need a year's training or 2 years training. It's very technical, technological. And why don't you just send some robots in to do the messy job? And why are we going to war anyway? Who are the clowns that
Why
are
do we need
thinking
to
war?
be fighting each other?
Yeah,
Yeah.
who are the clowns that think that's still a thing? You're like, aren't we civilized? What are we doing? Like, stop it.
It's some political decisions that then normal people like us need to go and pick up the pieces and sort them out.
Yeah,
It's
old
wrong
men with egos and pride force young men with
to go
vitality and a
die.
future to go and die. Like it's disgraceful and we shouldn't be doing it. That's my view. And like if these people just swallowed their pride, ate a bit of humble pie, and stop using their ego as an excuse and justifying it, then world would be a better place. But we're eons off it. We're eons
But we
off
need
it.
to say no, and when we're sent to do these things, we just say no, we're not doing that. But it's again a choice, and that's another thing that this compromise brings us to is the choice. So you have a choice. Do you want to compromise or do you want to choose something else?
So like you're the one with the birthday. You're the one that's 50. I'm I'm stealing the show here. I'm just sort of so you
Well,
need you need to I always do it. Do well or not? Anyway, your show. So like you've got to be 50. I've done it some time ago. It's gone on 10 years as well. So what's the what's your revelations?
well, what I have been doing, and it's not because I'm 50 or you know that came to be suddenly. I turned 50 out of nowhere. I wasn't even aware it was happening until a few days ago. But what came to me 2 years or three, well, how many years ago now? 3 years ago, 2.5, was that I'm done with this stuff that makes me miserable. I'm done with doing what the system wants me to do. I'm going to do my thing. And the fight that came with it, not just fighting with my own demons and fears and all of that kind of limitations, beliefs and limitations and blocks and whatnot, but it was also the people around me who were telling me to go back and find a job.
I mean, you can forgive them because the vast majority of those people are either young and been indoctrinated and think that's the way it is, or old, having lived their life and older, sorry, and lived their life and believing in what they did. Right. So,
Yeah.
like,
So when I was somehow these days, because I don't know, vibrating in this type of vibe, so I'm attracting the similar kind of messages to me. So a few days ago, I received an email from somebody. I'm on their mailing list, so they send this to everybody, not just me. But it was an interesting one. It said, your parents, your family are the worst to be around when you want to change your life. And I said, oh yeah, I know what you mean, but why? And he says, no, it's not because they don't love you. It's not because they don't mean for you to have the best life, but because they're scared. And they're scared for two reasons. The one reason, they're scared that you might be uncomfortable and you might not be quite, um, easy for you, and they just want you to stay safe. And the other reason is that you're exposing their inability to do the same, like change their life. So you're exposing them for choosing the safe option.
well,
So kind of.
you're doing something else as well. You're forcing a change upon them which they have no control over, except to tell you to get back on your horse and ride into the sunshine.
Yeah. So this is what happens when you are 50, in my case, and you choose to be someone else that you it's not someone else, that you're choosing to be who you want to be and who you really was meant to be, and not somebody who was trained and formed and molded into the mold of society, who's the one who conforms and does, somebody says jump and you jump twice as high as they expect.
I mean, that's all true. And the other thing is that those people love you as a daughter, they love you as a mother, they love you as a partner or whatever. And here you are becoming someone else that they may not love as much. Yeah, then
It's like losing their security, their
yeah, yeah,
sense
yeah.
of, that's how life has been so far. Why don't you like it? It's great.
Well, what they're saying is, I like it. Stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it does require some, and what this email was also mentioning is, in such case, when you want to change your life, don't rely on the family to help you and support you. What you actually need is a team of people who cheer you on. Surround yourself with that kind of with these kinds of people. Get a coach. Get a what was he saying? Because he's a coach, this guy. So get a
Just like
get
me.
a
Get a
coach.
coach like me.
Get a coach like me who will actually
Yeah.
support you in doing what you want to do. And if it's not me, find someone else, but find somebody who will be helping you to not fall back, because the pressure of the family and the people who love you, not just the closest family, but the bigger family as well, they it's not that they mean bad things for you, it's just a bit of a confusion for them as well. So, because they do love you anyway, and they'll accept it eventually, but for them, it's a bit of a transition as well. So, that's what I'm hoping that it's going to happen soon. with my situation. They will stop telling me that I need to find a job because I don't want to find a job. I want to do my thing. So
Well, you know, like
that 50 creeped on me like a surprising,
the
surprising.
thing is the thing we have to understand as people who have decided to do what they want to do is that other people will feel will they haven't gone through that process themselves. They haven't made those choices. They haven't had the experiences that led you to come to that conclusion. Like it's not like what did you just wake up one morning and go, well, that's it, I'm chucking in this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's like just like on a whim, right? On a
Mm.
whim, because maybe they got an email and it said you should be doing this, right? This is the other thing, right? It's not enough to look at evaluate things and to say, do you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm going to change. It's not enough, and the reason why most get back on the saddle, get back into the hamster wheel, and they go round again is because you need, coupled with this, a massive commitment and a massive desire and a massive intent and tenacity and persistency and consistency. These words, I don't use them lightly because you can't do this without a bag of this stuff, right? And if you haven't got it, you're going to crumble because the emotional ties of these other people tug big time.
Yeah.
Tears, cry, like tears, depression, moping about, arguments, people not talking to each other, conflict, strange atmospheres in the house. Like this goes on. It goes on and on. People stop talking to each other. People, it's like this is painful. It's massively painful unless you've got conviction beyond your wildest dreams. It's like it ain't going to happen. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen. And constantly again, and what you're talking about in terms of surrounding yourself with people like you is going networking. Yeah, this is the power of networking. It's not that you get loads of business. It's that other people are doing what you're doing. They're out there at the like with the at the front end with the with their tools, trying to chip away at the coal face to make a success of it, just like you. And of course, they're going to be positive with you because they want you to be positive with them. There's a lot of synergy which you
Mm-hmm.
won't find in the family.
Yeah.
I got a story of a guy that helped me a lot. Like he did. I was worked for him for many years, and then he became a business partner. And he had four sons, and none of them wanted to run their own business. And he'd been running his own business ever since he kind of stopped being a watchmaker's assistant back in the day, right? And he's always run his business, a recruitment business and a software business, and all these different businesses. And none of his sons had the inclination to do that. And then he met me, and I had the inclination to start my own business and do stuff, and he became involved and stuff, and there's a couple of businesses, and I could see, like deep down, he would have liked his sons to be doing it, but you can't force anybody to do anything they don't want to do. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and he was respectful of that, and massive a guy with massive integrity and everything else, and but he wasn't going to convince anybody to stop.
That's the other element of this compromise is forcing people to be doing, or you forcing yourself to be choosing something that is not something that you either don't like or maybe you do, but you kind of are led to choose it from a fearful place. So it's not you choosing it, it's your ego choosing it. But then also, if somebody else is forcing their decision onto you, so you're compromising, who gave them the right to be telling you what you want to do in your life? Maybe because you're doing that to them. So, so when you want to have nobody telling you what you want to do, you need to think about it. And that if that triggers you and makes you kind of like on edge, like it used to do me, now I think I've shed that. um, you think about yourself. Where, how is it in your situation that you are controlling them, or you're telling them what they should be doing? And should is the word. Oh, you should do this, you should do that. Giving advice where it's not intended or wanted or welcome. But also, and that's a very key one, is where in your life, in your situation, you're actually controlling yourself. You're telling yourself what you need to be doing instead of going with the flow and from a place of love. Whereabouts, in what area of your life does your ego take over and says, no, you need to do this, because otherwise something bad's going to happen. So this controlling thing and telling people what to do is a very good mirror, and it's a very good way to use as a diagnosis for your own situation, how you're
Here,
controlling yourself.
here's a suggestion. When you feel the need to say should be or you need to, we substitute that with have you considered?
Yeah. Or could I give you, Emma, would you like me to give you, would you, well, just questioning.
Have you
Like you
considered?
have you considered? So
Because
questioning
it's
with,
it's it's offering some alternative thinking, but there's no pressure involved.
yeah.
Have
Well,
you
that's
considered?
that's the one thing that whenever this is one of my mantras now. So whenever I notice that something triggers me, I first investigate what is it that's triggering me, what is making me like go like that, and then I think, okay, where am I doing this kind of same thing to others? Am I? If I am, then I need to think why. And whereabouts, in what way do I do this to myself? And I need to investigate that as well. And the minute that's done and processed, it's not bothering me now. They can come and tell me, oh, mom, go and find a job tomorrow. Because now you're 50, you need to find a job. Maybe you can go and find a job in Asda. No. It's not, doesn't trigger me. But it used to make me cry. And now, so, oh, all right, you think that, okay, you go and do them. It won't trigger me. So it has meant that through this change from being a primary school teacher to running my own business and doing what makes me happy, there has to be a lot of growth. A lot of growth needed
Absolutely.
to happen for me to be comfortably sitting where I am now, doing these shows with you, Chris, and celebrating my birthday online. Yay! Where's my cake?
Oh. Well, the cake's not good for you. This be.
No, yeah, but it's good for me because I love it. Okay, I've got chocolate.
um, yeah, it's
Right. So what happens when you turn 50? Well, nothing really. Your life can still carry on the same way as it was before, or it can change, but it can change at any age. It doesn't have to be at 50. It can be at any age. It can be at 10, it can be at 20, it can be at 30, it can be at 17. Doesn't matter.
I mean,
The
but
age, I used to say the age is just a number, and I didn't really understand what it means. It's just a number. Yeah, okay, so what? Yeah, it is a
I
number
mean,
because how
a
I
lot.
feel is just as young as I am now as I was like 10 years
Well,
ago.
in reality, you never age, and you're not a woman or whatever. At the end of the day, we're totally just
It's a soul. It's our
spirit or
soul that
soul.
is,
But
yeah.
the thing is that when people get to 50 years, it's enough time. It's enough time to have tried some things out, and if you're prepared to go in and look, to basically instead of saying, I just have to do this every week, you just question like, why do you have to do that every week? Well, if I don't do it, who will? Okay, so this has been put on you and you've accepted the mantle and taken it on and don't feel you've got any power to change it. Well, probably you have, to be honest, but you need to you could consider um, changing your life. There are implications, and a simple thing is someone says to me, like, oh, I can't stay any longer at the pub here. I've got to get up in the mornings. I've got to go to work. Okay, fair enough. Why you got to go to work? Well, what do you mean? Why do I got to go to work? I've got to go to work because they're the people that pay me. Okay, so why is it important that you get that money? Well, because I've got bills to pay, for God's sake. What's the matter with you? And it's like, oh, so is that the only choice then? Well, I don't have any choice. I've got to go to work. I've got to get up there and go there. So there's no other choices. You don't believe you could not go in, couldn't you? Yeah, if I not go in, I'm going to get sacked. Okay, so what's the consequences of being sacked then? Well, I can't pay my bills. Okay, what would you do if you couldn't pay your bills? Well, don't be daft. If I don't pay my bills, I'll be chucked out of this place because my rent, like, okay, so you'd be homeless. That's a consequence. Or you think you'd be homeless. Then what other options are there? And you just go through this process and you realize that there are choices, even though there appears not to be choices. You don't like the choices, but there are ways that you could alter your behavior such that those choices become not so unpalatable. But most people don't do that process. Most people don't. They just carry on. And I think at 50 years of age, you've had enough life experience, enough to know what's going on that you can perhaps and let's just say you own your house or you own something and there's some equity or there's some other, like my son, like he's probably got 60, 70,000 in equities, 30 odd, or maybe 90,000, depends. I don't know what it is, but 90,000 just slapped into your bank account, and now you have the rest of your life ahead of you. Well, that's quite exciting, isn't it?
Mm.
Right? I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, really, there are ideas, but you know what? Those ideas will change. They will always change because nothing is fixed. He's got some ideas now, but they're not going to be those ideas. Whenever I've said in this next 10 years, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and this, I'm 100% wrong. 100% wrong. And when I look at the things that have happened, I think, how the hell on earth did that happen? It's like there had to be the coming together, like the coincidences
Yeah,
and
the
the things that happen
synchronicities. Yeah.
are so weird that there's no way I could have planned anything so daft. Like it's like, and I wouldn't, like most of the happy events of my life, most of the successful things came from things that were bad. Yeah, they're like you would never have decided to do those things because look at on the face of it, they were terrible, right? But they turned out to be great. And like go fathom it. Like how did that happen? How does that ever happen? But if you look at your life, I bet you can find many, many. In fact, all of the situations like that. They're like, oh no, I don't want to do that, and then you get forced into it somehow, cajoled, or circumstances create the situation where
Mm-hmm.
you've chosen a derivative of it, and suddenly you start looking at it and saying, well, how can I make the best of this? How can I make? And you start to work in the new paradigm which creates a different outcome to the one you suspected. It's never the same. It's always, and you look back and you say, wow, that was amazing. That was an amazing thing. And it could have been the tiniest thing. And let me tell you now, this is one thing. I responded to a paper, a white paper that someone sent me who I had a fairly, I didn't really respect him that much as a marketer, right? But he sent me a paper of something that he'd seen. And he said, oh, Chris might be interested in this. So he sent it to me out of the blue. And I looked at it. It was about how slow, back in the day, the uptake, acceptance of web-based business applications to run people's business, how slow it had been in the small to medium-sized enterprises. That was what the paper was about, right? And he sent it to me because I was building a web-based business application for that kind of people, right? So it was totally up my street. And he sent it to me, and he said, and he just sent it. He said, you might be interested in this. And I looked at it. And the authors, one of them was a lecturer at Lancaster University, and the other was a guy in London doing something or other. Anyway, I wrote a letter to both of them, same letter, saying, I've read your paper, sounds interesting, but you're wrong.
I don't agree with you.
I don't agree with you. I understand what you're saying, and I can't argue with your statistics. What I'm telling you is that your evaluation of the statistics is incorrect. And the reason I know this is because I'm out there doing it, not sitting in a university. And the guy in the university, he wrote back to me and he said, "Well, this is amazing. Can you come up and do a talk to my master's students on this very subject?" So I did. And I was waiting with Morris, this guy I talked about, my business partner, and he said, "Are we wasting our time here?" And I said, I've got no idea, Morris, none at all. But what I do know is if I don't go outside the door, nothing happens.
Yeah. Taking
So,
the step. Taking the first step.
we went up there, and it turns out his brother runs a small to medium. He was very impressed with the presentation. All the students loved it. And he said, "My brother runs a small to medium-sized business that I'm invested in." He said, "I'll see if I can get you an appointment because looks like what you're doing may have an application for him." And he became my best customer for 10 years.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
funded the redevelopment of the Budapest flat in 2015. Right now, how could I know that was going to happen?
You funded the
Renovation of the flat in Budapest.
Okay.
The
Because you
money that I
cut
got.
out for a minute on my side. I don't know
Yeah,
whether it
yeah.
would be
Basically, it paid for that renovation. Which I'd struggled. I bought the thing in 1998, and it just been I bought it until 2015. That opportunity paid for me to develop it. Right? Why? You just don't know, do you? What a string of weird circumstances to result in that outcome. All came from me reading the paper and deciding to write to him.
And then not be kind of
apathetic.
When when you had to travel all the way there, instead of say, "Oh, what a waste of time, I'm not doing that, what's the point?" Instead of going in that with that mentality, you say, "Let's go. Which leg is going to be first, left or right?"
Yeah. So it was that's an interesting example, I think, for you just don't know what's going to happen. Take a step. What are you going to die because you take a step? If I'd taken a step off the platform and got run over by the train, okay, that's the end of that. But
not that kind of step.
Yeah, not that kind of step. But like to evaluate your just do it. Like, just what can go wrong? Okay, if it's not life threatening and it's not going to destroy your life and it's not going to cause major issues, just take a step, see where it goes.
Yeah.
Who knows? I had to wait 10 years for that to manifest itself into something much bigger, but there's a lot of work involved. But hey ho.
Yeah. So my best birthday present is the one that I gave to myself. So
another day,
another life, a different life.
Yeah.
And
excellent.
Yeah, maybe we'll put something in the comments underneath as well. Something that I created yesterday. Something I completed, not created it. Something I completed yesterday, but that might go in the comments. I'm not going to talk about it here. So, wrapping it up.
I won't give it away, but
we've gone 38 minutes already.
Oh no,
we were having so much fun.
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, okay, probably time to give it a rest now, though.
I'm gonna go and find myself a cake. I don't know. Maybe not.
Make a cake, buy a cake.
I might bake one actually for a change. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, bake yourself a birthday cake. Hey,
I'll
yeah,
bake
that's a novel
myself
idea, isn't it?
yeah, the simple type that I used to bake when I was a little child. Right, same one.
Mm. All right, bye
Thank you
for
for
now.
watching,
Enjoy your
guys, and don't
birthday.
forget to subscribe to the channel. I forgot to say that in the beginning, but do that now. Take a minute, take a second, click, and see you on another episode. Bye for now.
Bye. Bye bye.